I laugh. I laugh at people holding up the past on a pedestal and demonizing the current. This is not tomorrow. There's trillions of dollars being exchanged through Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Trillions. Real economics and a massive naivete of the biggest companies in the world at a time where they can least afford it. It's creating friction in the trenches. And I highly recommend, I hope, if even one group in here takes this audacity that I deploy on stage and uses it as a seed to actually audit how they're marketing their business, because I promise, if you miss the mark on branding over the next decade, the next platform is gonna make you really pay. If you've lost on social, voice is gonna put you out. Because if you don't build brand in this next decade, when we make that transition, my friends, you're not naive. You know there's kitchens being built under every building that's vacated, and people are building brands to compete with you with no storefronts and no overhead, and all they're gonna use is Uber Eats and Postmates and all the other stuff. Guys, this is not a joke. Please, 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 we're gonna go from laughs to a much more serious subject. In the next decade, you will be competing with more brands than you ever have because the startup costs are zero, the infrastructure costs are low, and the ability to get to a consumer's home or an office at no cost is going to be staggering. Please, please don't rest on the laurels that got you or the current strength of what's happening, because the speed of acceleration of the clear thing that's about to complete, guys, I literally stood here while I was in New Orleans. I stood in New Orleans 7 years ago at the Black Car Limo Service convention. I said, my friends, this Uber thing is real. And the excuses and audacity of why it wouldn't, and regulation, and we're gonna kick plenty of money to Pennsylvania Avenue and all this, it doesn't work. The consumer wins in the end. This is not a strategy. So you might be thinking you're competing with everybody in this room. You're not. You're competing with a new infrastructure that is gonna market properly to the end consumer using the infrastructure of the mobile web and the last mile infrastructure of the 5 biggest companies in the world. There's never been bigger disruption to gyms, to masseuses, to food, forget. I mean, how many people in the food business? Raise your hands. You need to be thinking very carefully where this is going. You know, there's a really great Russian saying my mom used to always say, man plans and God laughs. And I've translated that in my head a little bit to, and technology laughs. This is coming. The number one way to win in this big of a disruptive shift of the next decade is to build an actual brand where they need you, where they have to have you. The way to do that is to be heard by the end consumer. The way to do that is to scrutinize every penny you spend and make sure you're not wasting it on where you think they are. And most of all, the big aha of this new world is that we now live in a world where the volume of content that you're putting out on these platforms is imperative, because the context of that content to hit the cohorts of, you know, as you can imagine, no matter what your business is, a 25-year-old guy in an urban area is gonna probably have to see a different video and picture than a 48-year-old housewife with 2 children, right? This is a demographic and psychographic world. And it's far more complicated than the simplicity of the way we play in politics, which is left and right. There are 758 meaningful cohorts to your business. You need to identify them, and then you need to contextualize the creative to them. And then you need to empower your franchisees to have the luxury and the breathing room to contextualize it to their 5 to 10 mile radius without the subjective ideological scrutiny from an ivory tower somewhere in corporate while maintaining the brand equity. That is the framework of the next half decade.
How do you get back to yourself? Physically, mentally, and spiritually. For as long as I remember, I've struggled with acne and skin sensitivity. It got worse when I became disconnected from myself. And working as an aerospace engineer in the 2020 pandemic pushed things over the edge for me. So I shifted my focus to healing myself holistically from the inside out, which birthed Back to Me skincare. And you deserve that too.
What does your self-care look like? How exactly do you get back to yourself? You deserve that same energy that you give out. You deserve to transform your mind with self-affirmations, to take care of your skin, to release tension from your body, to turn your home into a sanctuary. These tools are designed to help you along your journey because you're responsible